So in the last 8 years, I've become more political, more ideological, and I think I'm pretty fair-minded. I can be kind of pragmatic. I mean, kind of. I don't believe that in order for you to earn my vote, you have to agree with me on everything, but at the very least, some of the big items of the election, and by big items, I mean the biggest issues, if I can agree with you, or if I think that you have a fair proposal, I'm more willing to consider voting for you than your opponent. I voted for Chase Oliver in the presidential election. I'm not proud of it. I'll make a video about the libertarians later. So, don't bash my teeth in. It was just more of a vote for the lesser evil, really, compared to Trump and Harris. Republicans won the White House. They won the popular vote, a plurality, but still, the Democrats say the majority of Americans voted for Al Gore and Hillary Clinton when it was only a plurality. Donald Trump did better than they did. 49.9% is higher than 48.4% and 48.2%. It was not a landslide. It's not a mandate. It was a very, very close popular margin. The Electoral College was not close, but, people vote, not land. So in terms of the election, he won fair and square. He's a duly elected man. He got a plurality of the vote, which even if he lost the popular vote, he won the Electoral College fair and square. So in terms of the fact he won, I fully accept it. I always wondered if I would actually live to see a president win two non-consecutive terms, given that in my grandparents' lifetime that never happened. So I lived through something they didn't. But I think that in terms of the issues, I think this campaign was disgraceful, and I'm just saying as a whole, not just him. Given how few issues were talked about, I already mentioned the faults of the Democrats, so I'll mention the faults of the Republicans on this one. They did a better job in terms of communicating to the public. They didn't rely on just tangible campaign literature and campaign signs. They had that, but they spent a lot more time in digital media and on the internet, which was perfect. I could not have commended more strongly the role the Republicans had in terms of getting their message out on the internet. That was great. Trump has been speaking for 9 years, and people have been listening. Some of it is stuff they had never heard of before, never thought of before, or stuff they've believed the whole time, and here was a candidate speaking directly to them. The country felt powerless, and a plurality of Americans voted for someone who says he wants to burn the system down, and it's an attractive thing because they feel powerless. And I think that these people who are like, how could 55% of Hispanic men and 21% of black men vote for Trump and 46% of women, they feel powerless. They feel heard. They feel listened to by Donald Trump. They feel that he speaks to them and not the Democratic nominee, not my party, unfortunately, and not the other candidates who are on the ballot. Now, granted, he won, but in terms of how shameful of a campaign it was, even on his side, it was pretty strong. His running mate, J.D. Vance, who is a shameless grifter. This is a man who said that Trump was literally Hitler, well, was America's Hitler, and even as late as 2020 said he was not taking a job from the emperor, referring to Trump, is now embracing Trump all the way, and it tells me that he felt that if he ever wanted to get anywhere in life, he'd have to be a bootlicker for Donald Trump, or for whomever was the in person, really. Then you look at the things J.D. Vance said on the trail that Trump didn't repudiate, that if you don't have kids and you're a woman, that you pretty much have no skin in the game and practically don't matter. And, I think calling... I've already spoken about how the Democrats are, the thing they did was rather than saying men are childless cat ladies, they'd call them incels, say they choose the bear, and all these other things. And it shouldn't surprise me that still a majority of women didn't vote for Trump. More women than ever before have in terms of his 3 runs, but it was absolutely a misogynistic thing for J.D. Vance to say they're childless cat ladies just because they're not voting for him, and that because they don't have kids, they don't have skin in the game. which is absolutely not true. I don't have children, but I care about my nieces and nephews, and I care about my own family and my friends. I mean, I think that should constitute having skin in the game. I work, I have to pay bills. I think about the cost of living all the time, and I think about taxes, and I think about government spending. Just because you have kids or if you don't doesn't mean you do or don't have skin in the game. I'd say having any sense of understanding about how the world works makes you have skin in the game. Then Trump was saying all this stuff about how the Haitian immigrants are eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets, when that is not happening. That was absolutely a blatant lie, and the person who started that lie apologized, retracted it, and said she had no idea it was going to spread like that, even though she posted it online in a Facebook group, and how she didn't think that was going to spread like wildfires beyond me. And he took it and he ran with it, and even J.D. Vance basically acknowledged that they couldn't prove it was happening. He lies through his teeth, and that's something we all know. And I'm not saying that he's especially bad. I mean, yeah, he lies more than any other politician, but, he is just another politician. All these people who say that he's not a politician, he's just a businessman. Well, I mean, if you're running for office repeatedly, I think that kind of makes you a politician. And given the fact he can't answer a question directly, makes him just another politician. But still, I think this idea that this was, a landslide or a mandate was nothing to be taken seriously. And another thing about how the campaign was racist, I've already said over the years that his patterns are consistently racist. I mean, he got sued for housing discrimination, and he settled. Despite saying that he didn't settle, he settled. Then you look at the fact that he said of Kamala Harris that now she's black when she was previously Indian, even though multiracial people exist, and she's been clear about that. And I think the biggest thing is, constantly quoting Hitler loosely. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation. And, being dehumanizing towards people. It's like if you think it's not fair to call him a fascist, then maybe you should tell him to stop talking like that. That's not to censor him, that's not to take away his First Amendment rights, it's to tell him if you don't want people calling you a fascist, stop saying those things and they'll not call you a fascist. Like, they're poisoning the blood of our country. That's straight from the lips of Hitler. And that's not to say he's literally Hitler, but, all these things where he'll say these things and then people will be like, oh, everyone's so mad. Well, it's like, well, if you want people to not be mad at you, maybe package it in a different way. I mean, I think if Donald Trump were to have gone about his campaigns a different way, just straight talk with the people, just they have a question, just answer it, get it over with, I think he would have defeated the Democrats twice in a row, and we'd be talking about whoever the next president would be. I think that anyone with a brain could have defeated Hillary Clinton. Basically just point out the failures of the Obama administration, answer the questions, and just talk to people. Whether Trump answers their questions truthfully or not, at this point, it doesn't matter. The electorate's made it clear they will have him in the White House for 4 more years, and I accept that. But I think when people think, well, what does he have that all these other people don't? What these other people do not is, well, a loyal cult-like following. And he also has... he speaks to people about the issues that they truly care about. The Democrats were relying on city dwellers and celebrity endorsements. He went on podcasts that talk to people that aren't politically correct, talking to people who are concerned about things and calling all these things dog whistling, alt-right whatever, alt-right dog whistles. And, being healthy is not an alt-right dog whistle. Being taking care of yourself mentally and physically is not a dog whistle. People having unusual hobbies or interests, like maybe they really like video games, or maybe they really like certain genres of books, or whatever, you know. That's not an alt-right dog whistle. I feel like the worst of 2016 was turned up to 11 for this year in terms of talking down to people, from the Democrats. And Donald Trump, all he had to do was say, to the public who was not happy about the performance of the sitting president, is basically say, I'll be your champion. And he took advantage of the Democratic coalition fracturing or fragmenting. You had people who voted for him as a protest, Palestinians voting for him just to punish the Biden administration. They said they were fully aware that Trump will make the issue worse in Gaza, they say, but they voted for him to punish the Democrats. In terms of those who voted for Trump because of the cost of living, they say, and because of peace and prosperity. There's not going to be peace and prosperity. He's going to raise tariffs, which will raise prices on the American people. He said he can't promise that his tariffs won't raise prices, so that tells me that all these people who said they voted for him because of that have pie in their face. He says he's going to look into raising the minimum wage. He wants DACA people to stay, or dreamers to stay, even though he tried to terminate DACA in 2017. So it tells me that this man said whatever it would take to get elected. The pro-life community, I want to ask them, what do you have to say? This is a guy who couldn't make up his mind if he would support the pro-abortion amendment in Florida, which failed, thankfully. Then you got they're saying the Republicans are the party of the working class. Yet none of what he's proposing is going to help. It's not going to help the working or middle classes to raise tariffs. It's not going to do much in terms of his proposed revision of his inaugural tax bill. I think that if he could keep tax rates down on those who are the middle and lower classes, I would say that'd be a success, but he's not going to pay for any of it. He talked about how the debt is out of control, yet he is a part of the reason why that is the case. The thing that annoys me the most is a lot of people in some states, even in states that he won easily, were asking how to change their vote after the election and who pays for tariffs. And then after the election, his cabinet appointments are going very, very, very poorly. Pete Hegseth might withdraw when he has accusations of sexual misconduct and being a drunk. Now, he has due process, and I believe there should be a full investigation. And I say that if he's exonerated, then he should be considered in terms of his qualifications, which he has none for the Office of Secretary of Defense. Just because he was a veteran doesn't mean that automatically he's qualified to run the Defense Department. That's not a controversial thing to say. It's like saying, oh, well, I like planting stuff, therefore I should be EPA Administrator or Interior Secretary is a joke. RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary, I don't think he has the qualifications, and I don't buy that he'll have the power to do any of what he wants to do. He says he wants to tackle big pharma and all these unhealthy foods, all these things that are bad for us. I don't buy for a second that he will get anywhere with that. I don't believe that Trump actually supports any of what Kennedy wants to do. With respect to Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, I mean, she's not a Russian plant, so she talked to Bashar al-Assad, whose government fell a couple days ago. That's not disqualifying. Members of Congress talk to people, controversial people, all the time. I don't see anyone saying that John Kerry shouldn't be in any political office because he talked to Bashar al-Assad or Vladimir Putin. Then you look at Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. That was an out-of-the-box failure. I think the thing that made me laugh the most was this man got reelected to the House of Representatives very easily, and he resigned to prevent a report coming out about him that would have been pretty damaging to him, but he then withdrew from consideration to be Attorney General of the United States. And the thing that makes me laugh the most is he ultimately, it's like, so I'd say let the report come out. He deserves due process just like Pete Hegseth. They deserve due process. They've been accused of wrongdoing. They should have the ability to defend themselves. They should have the ability to face their accuser. They should have the ability to be investigated, and if exonerated, then those claims should be retracted. But I think that Matt Gaetz is not qualified to be Attorney General, and I think Pam Bondi is. Now, she practically dropped a case against Trump a number of years ago, basically on a bribe, so that's very fitting for his cabinet. When, these MAGA people say that he appoints the best people, well, he says, I'm going to appoint the best people to my administration, and then these people defend him saying, well, he just trusted the wrong people. Well, then, that tells me he doesn't know what he's doing. If he keeps hiring the wrong people, then maybe that means he's too stupid to get it right. And I think the thing that MAGA needs to understand is there's no more excuses. You got the House, you got the Senate, you got the Supreme Court, you got the White House. At this point, if you guys can't do anything, then that's on you. You guys support keeping the filibuster, so I mean, that's also your fault if you keep the filibuster, which you should. But, this is a guy who flip-flopped on so many issues. Oh, he'll protect the Second Amendment. He'll protect the unborn. No, he won't. He'll say whatever it takes to get elected. He banned bump stocks. He was about to waffle on guns and immigration. Well, waffle further on guns. He was going to waffle on immigration. Hardliners had to tell him, you will lose in 2020 if you do this, and he backed off and lost anyway. You can't let perfect be the enemy of good. He's not good. He's not bad. It's not bad to say that he should, actually stand for something. He keeps waffling. He signed NAFTA light trade policies with USMCA. It was just like NAFTA, just with a couple cosmetic changes on numbers. This is a guy who absolutely spent millions of dollars on anti-transgender ads. President Trump is for you, Kamala is for they, them, which was a masterful ad. It did have an effect on the election, I have no doubt. Even Bill Clinton said that he told Kamala's people, you guys got to do something. This ad is resonating, and they did not. Yet he doesn't want to do anything about trans people being in the bathroom. So it tells me that if he was willing to attack the woke agenda and then he won't fight it as president, it tells me he's just a politician. And that was the biggest appeal about him, was that he's not a politician. All three times. Oh, he's not a politician. Well, he's in politics, he holds public office, he's running for office, and he has political beliefs that he espouses. I think that kind of qualifies as being a politician. But at the end of the day, he won. He'll be president for 4 more years. I think maybe the best things he'll do is some more deregulation. Hopefully some just tax cuts on the middle and lower classes, and conservative judges. I don't have any confidence in him to do anything else. If he would embrace YIMBY policies, I would honestly be a lot more enthused about him being president, is if he would embrace NIMBY policies and do nothing else to restrict guns and anything else. I'd say, all right, he wasn't that bad in his second term. I'm not saying he has to come over to my side completely on politics or policy. I don't expect that from anybody. But, he's an economic nationalist. I'm not. So naturally, all these people who say, well, the libertarians should vote for Trump because it'll be the best thing for libertarianism, those people don't know what they're talking about. The MAGA Libertarian Coalition is just a scam with losers and suckers backing it. These influencers saying that they're voting for Trump. It's like, if it was the in thing to vote for Kamala Harris or to vote for any other Republican, they would be like, oh, well, I'm a member of this movement and I'm crossing the aisle to vote for whoever's the most popular person to vote for, just for that attention, just for that money, just for those followers. And, I find it just laughable, this idea that somehow we're being unrealistic and unreasonable by saying he's not going to appoint a libertarian to the cabinet. He's not going to get rid of the Department of Education. He's not going to try to free all these people. Now, if he does pardon some of the people he did say at the Libertarian National Convention he'd pardon, then honestly I would say, okay, you can't run again because of term limits, but it would definitely be a start. If he could run, it would definitely be a start. But in terms of actual policy, not just, oh, they charged him and he got shot. All these people saying that he should be elected didn't have much to say. The Democrats also didn't have much to say, and the Republicans lucked out. So I guess where I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll see you guys for the next video. See you later.